I will try to shape a bit what could be the added value. Added value means added value doesn't mean competition. It's the first thing. So this is important. So I will also discuss a bit collaboration, because you have no added value without collaboration. You have no added value and collaboration if you don't have trust and positive dynamic. And then the question is how to build on it, that collaboration, and make it a strengthening force. So the first thing is to share responsibilities. What I learned in ICAO is that for responsabilité in French, you have 3 words: liability, accountability, responsibility. Saulo remembers perhaps the discussions we had about the Annex 19, where we were. So in French you have only 1 word, in Spanish you have 2, in English you have 3. So the concept is not so obvious for everybody. In any case, in my case, in what I am telling of, the question is commitment, work, and collaboration. And I could use liability, responsibility, or accountability. So share the activities, all together be accountable about the results and the commitment. Liable, try to forget it, because it's only coming when you have an accident or whatever. But it's important. So we need this cooperative scheme in safety oversight. We need to work as partners. We need also to clarify the scope. Raymond and others have spoken about a sort of competition. I will come back on this. We need to coordinate support. I was speaking from my father, going to the market. I wish RSOO would be, in French I would say guichet unique. In English I think it's one-stop shop. Is make sure that when requesting for support, consolidate you have only one point of contact who is assuming the coordination and making sure that the right resources are put in place to assure the best support you are requesting, and not going to the one, going to the second, to the third. Of course, we should recognize that was a bit introduced by Raymond just before, that there is a natural competition on scarce resources. Typically human resource, and typically budget. If I have a limited budget, do I give some to the regional organization, or shall I keep it for me, be capable to develop? If I want to answer that question, I shall identify the benefits of the regional organization I can get from the regional organization, and be capable to balance. Of course, I was speaking of one-stop shop. This one-stop shop should be effective. Should exist with real services, with real support and real assistance to me. And then we'll come back. We'll say it is repeated. But I like this expression, Kleenex effect. You know what is a Kleenex? Small paper you have in the pocket. The Kleenex effect is, I take you as throw you away. That's not the way to build on cooperation. Building on cooperation is creating sound principles that can work in every circumstances, not only when you like it. And this is, on my opinion, the real foundation of cooperation. And of course, when things are working well, you often not discuss it. You complain only when they don't work. So try to convince yourself on a regular basis that it is working, not only with RAP assessment, I would say, but by yourself. Do you get the benefit you want? It's not only when the event is negative that you should look at the benefit. It's also on a regular basis. That's my opinion, at least. And be aware and make sure that you get what you invested in this regional organization in a continuous improvement ambition. So, the natural tension on resources. We should not avoid that question. It is existing. It is existing on number of human people, competent personnel. So this question has to be solved in collaboration. And what I would like myself, knowing that I am not you, you will do it, is to create a plan to improve the resources for every sub-region, perhaps animated by the RSOO, sometimes taking people from the industry, knowing that the industry is also taking people from the aviation authorities and RSOOs. This is dynamic, let's say. Creating people by training, by initial training, by whatever internship. In any case, work together for the benefit of all. Not the RSOO working in isolation for itself. Not the CA working in isolation for itself. Together. Like that, the budget and the resources will be efficiently used. The dilemma at the level of the state with limited resources is where do I put the money? We heard already from various RSOOs that although they have a budget, they have a limited percentage of realization of that budget. It's strange to me, to be honest. For me, when I have a budget, I count on it. That's something I discovered as being becoming a private company. I have no budget. I have to fight for my resources. But when I was in the administration, I was never satisfied by the budget which was allocated to me. But I knew what budget I have. What we discovered during this study with RSOOs, in interviewing various RSOOs, is that they had a budget, but this budget was virtual. So sometimes they never got the money which was corresponding to the decided budget. How can you work? This is really a challenge. So this question has to be solved. And full transparency. I think it's really important. And then, as I said already, but I'm getting older, I repeat myself, benefits are highlighted clearly. It's also a clear challenge to justify the budget, to justify the resources. Otherwise, you go to the bus, and every week you ask for a new person. Sorry, every week you ask for a new person. So this is really important to clarify that benefit. To have that regular assessment of your collaboration, make sure everything is readable and transparent. Transparent to you and transparent to everybody. We don't have time. I will not repeat this, but this loop you will see it appearing a few times during my presentations. So what we try to propose in our report before competing on resources, knowing that there is a bit of competition in resources, is really to create that added value that we wanted. And that added value is not necessarily coming at first when you don't have the competent staff from delegating services that you cannot assume. So what we have looked for is what could be initial added value activities for the RSOO. A few ones have been already mentioned. No rocket science is coming here. It's just natural. The first one is common or harmonized regulatory framework. To be clear, I am a bit autocratic. I would prefer common than harmonized. Because if it is common, it's far easier to manage. Let's accept harmonized. It's the primary condition for collaboration and safety oversight. The primary condition for collaboration concerning ICAO duties. It's the primary condition for what I would not call superficial training. Okay, everybody can train on ICAO SARs. I could even do it myself, knowing how many times I've passed in ICAO. But the purpose is not to stay at the surface. The purpose is to go in depth in the real implementation of things, practical aspects. And this is not totally written in the books of ICAO. Sorry. But the manuals they can improve a bit. And in any case, even if they improve, they will stay at international global level and not regional implementable level. This has to be created by yourself. The condition for that? Share the regulatory framework. Okay? This is also the case for training and competency. And this is also the case for coordination. Don't take an inspector from anywhere in the world to tackle dedicated questions from your region. Take somebody educated in your region, competent, expert, knowing your regulatory framework. So, for me, those are the clear priorities. But there are a few things that you could do. I agree, Raymond. I agree with you. The number of final reviews of standards, final reviews that we have analyzed in the Air Navigation Commission with so low level of answers from African states. And then being as a president, you go to the council, you present your standard, and then you hear the African representative telling you, no, this is not implemented. Because I will pass about the arguments. But okay. You listen, you work, and then you go back to your final review. And the guy who just expressed in the council, you look at his answer to the final review. No once. So I agree. Africa needs to express itself. Africa needs to work on the standards. Africa needs to prevent not implementability of standards in Africa. But for that, express yourself. The system is well done. You can express. And for me, RSOO would be the natural forum for that. If you share the regulatory framework, you share the challenges, the regulatory challenges, you can work on the ICAO duties capable to answer. It's not to say it's not implementable. It's to say how it would become implementable in your region, which is far more interesting than no. This is really important. If you have that, then I concur with what Raymond just said, coordinated response to ICAO stated as, I'm not saying unique response, coordinated. We are being frost. I said also assistance in the UNF. You know your failures, you know your weaknesses. You could work together on the UNF. You could work together with your differences. I didn't check the rate of effort completions before coming to this meeting. But I'm pretty sure of the result if I check. Okay? In case of ICAO working groups, there is always a difficulty on the side of ICAO and on the side of the countries how much resources invest in that. Already, if you work at regional level, doesn't mean that it is always experts of the RSOO to go. Would be one expert from the region, coordinated approach with the RSOO to those who work. At least this will make the standard a bit more implementable in your region, and at least will give you anticipation on the next standard to come and challenge you. Clearly, this is the dynamic of ICAO. And I'm not mentioning, but I will do, global and regional plans. Obviously, with a common reality, the way to create those ramp that we have invented together. We work together on the gap. And not together. But it's clearly difficult to make it not too viable, but practical level. And it needs a regional approach, clearly. I'm not sure it needs so much national approach, because if the region is well coordinated, might keep a good basis of it. Something which is happening now, I hope you are all aware. The question of the flexibility of ICAO standards is coming everywhere. So ICAO is very good in defining performance-based objectives. It's nice. The problem is that a number of countries in the world have difficulties to transform what is a performance-based objectives in an implementation process. But ICAO has created a bit more in the last times, even when it's already a decade that I was in ICAO, but even at that time, is to create flexibility. How you create flexibility in the standard? You define the standard and you say, to use that level of flexibility, I was discussing OLF with my friend from RDC. you can adapt the standard to your reality with a safety study or an aeronautical study. Then it begins to smoke and to be a bit complex. And I'm sure some states have difficulties to go there. And this would be a real added value, on my opinion, of RSOs, if they have, knowing that they share the reality, to adapt the safety studies, at least the methodology to address those things. This is beginning to appear in a number of plans and annexes, and this is really important to be capable to implement the standard and to adapt it to your reality. And of course, joint audit, inspection missions, work together, simply like that. What we have seen also during your study is that there were clearly some benefits on some points as working together in a very effective and applicable way at the regional level. There are challenges that you cannot solve at the national level because you don't have the critical mass. Or it will be at least very challenging. Of course, there are some, it needs, of course, to have passed the level that was shaped already. It's a clear delegation act from the national member states to the RSOO. But if you have passed that step, then a number of things are open. We have seen from RSOO the example of aviation medicine. Aviation medicine is a clear challenge in every state. Even in a rich state like France, aviation medicine is difficult to manage and maintain a doctor with the right competencies adapted to aviation in the authority, etc. So, critical size is important for that. License management. When I say license of aviation professional, it's technical, but it's also political, because this would help in the free circulation of aviation workers in the region. Regional exams, they are coming with. Safety monitoring, we already have seen event collections, reporting, blah, blah, blah. Common validation. For example, I was in Senegal in July to do some PAPI calibration with drones. It's a nice toy. But if you develop that capacity at a regional level, you can oversee it, you can work it, it will be really beneficial at a regional level. As an individual state, it's a lot of work for once a year intervention. Doesn't work. Okay? Flight control. You all have challenges in having flight inspectors. And then, if I take the regulation with the proper type qualification, it's a nightmare for a number of states to have them in their national authorities. Look at it at a regional level. Already it will help. Okay, so for me, and it's almost the last slide, I would insist on the fact that the first step is really to have recognized expertise and capacities. This is the condition for trust and for the call of services, which is then the conditions for balanced cooperation. I insist on regulatory framework, common safety oversight, human resource strategy, and identify added value RSOO activities. But it's like a marriage, can only be progressive, the way you create the trust in your family. So accept that it is progressive. You begin with a bit of support, you enforce it with coordination, and you delegate services when the trust is there and the capacity is there. And of course, since you all like to be assessed and audited, but at least this is the, let's say, official way to create legitimacy and credibility, which is also a condition of trust and an objective way to make it. Don't forget to run those assessments. Perhaps tomorrow it will be like the online framework. You will assess yourself to be capable, and you can begin as an RSO. It could be a good habit. But at least go through those assessments, which are also going with what I called revise your benefits on a regular basis. So this is a bit of the roadmap we are proposing to you. It's not rocket science, but I hope this is the way to go forward and create added value for RSOs in the member states. Thank you very much. Paolo, my friend. Just speak in French or in English, not in Portuguese.
Qu'est-ce que tu préfères, in French or English?
Whatever you want.
Como tu veux. Or Portuguese, yeah. I may do in Portuguese. No, I'm going to do in English. But you started your conversation talking about liability, accountability, and responsibility. And we also talk about the definition of priorities for the real safety organization. Sorry. Before you, we had one specific RSOO talking about the certification of the AFI. I don't remember which one it was, but so during your conversation, your study, did you have a chance to talk to them about that? Because when you talk about certification, it's a serious word that involves liability, accountability, and responsibility. Do you have a chance to talk to them about that? Thank you.
We didn't go that deep in the study because we had to face a number of RSOs, a number of situations, and a variety of situations. For me, certification can only go with a clear delegation act. It's a very, for that it's liability. It's a very liable task. And I think it's certainly not the first target. It's perhaps one. It's perhaps, I don't know if it was Louis from AMAC to mention that, but he has the chance to be dedicated to one domain. I have a bit of a question for him about the dependency of the regulatory authority to the operator. But, because it's more or less relating to ASECNA, and a bit more than less. But let's assume also that his challenge, which he's facing with ASECNA, every state has it with its INSP, which has the monopoly of the airspace in every national state. So, okay, certification of the INSP, even when I do participate to ICAO fora, I am very cautious about that. The first question is how you define the perimeter of the INSP. Does it include all CNS facilities? Does it include the power plant? Does it include blah, 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 blah? And there are a number of still questions, open questions on this question. So for me, no, we didn't go in that depth. Certification is a clear liability question going with the delegation of services, and it's certainly not the first step. Thank you.
Any other question?
I like it. You don't want to have a coffee break. It's good.
Thank you for your presentation. Mine is more related to regulations, and I believe that BC raised the concern seriously. Listening to speech, they come with regulation, saying that they have developed quite a number. I would have expected that they say exactly what annexes has been transposed. Looking at IAMAC, let's say, domain of competence, that way. Now, and for me it's a good example, IAMAC is covering 3 regional economic communities, not falling under the same legal framework. So when you talk about developing regulation, are you talking about developing models? How those regulations are adopted within specific economic regulation communities? It is important for them to explain. And if I take, for example, Asase and Yoma, they are all ASEC members, then consequently they are member state of IAMAC. That means they have kind of agreement. When it comes to this agreement and when it comes to develop regulation, the specific state amend its legal framework to provide for such mechanism. This is some things I believe we need more clarification for the benefit of the all participants. It is important for me.
Okay, René, you are a good friend with difficult questions. But I just remind you that we have a session tomorrow on legal basis and regulatory framework, which is on my opinion the place to discuss it, but I can anticipate a bit. It's a challenge. What we have seen in the AFI region is that there are regional economic communities where it's more or less straightforward to transform the regional regulatory framework in a national reality. Okay. In some other regional economic communities, you have to transpose and then adopt, and then since it's harmonization, you will make some change, adaptation, or whatever. The first thing, which should be clear, it's the state to decide the law. So it's clearly going with either a regional treaty or whatever institutional agreement to have a direct transposition in the national law, or it's going with the commitment of the state to being involved and committed in this regional work, to adopt it without any change in its national law. But it's clear that it should be, this challenge should be highlighted. I think there is no real obvious legal solution. The real obvious legal solution is at the level of the treaty when you create the conditions for direct transposition in the national law. What is important, and I agree with you, in our report you will see a bit of discussion on possible merging between different RSOs. There is something that we should look at, it is what I call the regulatory structure, which is also going with the legal system of the various countries or the various regions. In the case of AMAC, you have the CEMAC on one side, you have the WAIMU on the other side, and what we begin to forget is that Rwanda joined as a sector and AMAC. Other countries are about to join, and they are neither part of WAIMU nor CEMAC. So, then the question will be how to have a common regulatory structure legally. Because at the level of ICAO standards, relatively easy, they speak only technique. But when you implement it, when you create, let's say, we don't like punishment, but with every legal system you have a sort of punitive system or whatever, then you begin to enter the juridic aspects of the countries. And this begins to the challenge, but the only answer, I am just very poor and low engineer level, the only one answer I could offer is that it's going with commitment of states. It's commitment in the treaty they have signed, because what we see in the region and in some other regions also, that you sign a committee and a few years after you forget about what's written. The second thing is when it is not signed, have internal arrangements inside the RSOO to create a commitment of member states. That's the only one answer I would offer, at least at my level. Philippe could be around. He will perhaps make a one-hour dissertation on legal aspects and regulatory standards, but I can take it.
Okay, we can have one more question. Yeah.
There are two others.
Thank you very much. I'll be brief. Just from your presentation and also from the global cooperation framework, and also from what we learned from all the different RSOs, knowing that this final study report and recommendations is going to go to the policy level for adoption. I just wanted to know from your study analysis, when it comes to the role of the RSO, we saw different RSO doing different type of role when it comes to one delegation to some activities. In your presentation, you highlighted some of the activities that can be delegated, and other RSO doing the capacity building and accompanying the member states to be able to execute their function. So we saw those two types of RSOs. So I wanted to hear from you clearly what is your recommendation going forward. Thank you.
My recommendation is not to say you are good or you are bad when you do things. What I say is that there is a natural progression. Natural progression is going with creating the competency, having the common regulatory framework or harmonized one. It's a condition to go a step further. And to do those two things, especially to have the competency, you need the financial foundation. That's really what I would put at first in the consolidation phase. Then the rest is more or less decide at your regional level what is important for you and where you will see maximum benefit with the existing capacity from your regional organization. And move together, knowing that this question of the balancing the activity is not only the question for the RSOO, it's the question for the RSOO with its member states. And then we will see if member states have the capacity to be relatively autonomous on some aspects, let them, and put the effort of the RSOO on where they have difficulties and they need to combine resources. That's what I would offer. But for me, first, regulatory framework, finance, sustainable finance, not Kleenex finance, and competent personnel. Really. There is a mic behind.
Thank you very much. In both these two of the last presentation, it was mentioned the delegation of treatment of state letters to the RSOs. Bagasso have recently drafted an harmonization strategy. We have an harmonization strategy that was validated by our member states, and one of the key components is the treatment of state letters. Bagasso is already implementing it. We are doing the treatment of state letters forwarded to member states for them to reply directly to ICAO. But during our last meeting, member states expressed intention to fully delegate it to Bagasso. However, we have some constraints. And this comes directly from the way forward. There is no clear guidance from ICAO in this aspect. If states want to delegate, for example, the treatment of state letters to member states, how to go about it. We recently contacted some key personnel. There were suggestions that we should draft a MOU among the member states to be submitted. But we would like to have clear guidance on the side of ICAO how to go about it. We already have at least 1 or 2 member states that are using these materials, but we all know that member states have some resistance in replying to the ICAO state letters. So this is be a good way forward to have more feedback for member states. Thank you.
Thank you. You are Madame Silva? Okay, sorry, I only saw you by video conference, and I was not recognizing you. It's a difficult question. Perhaps more than difficult than it appears. The first element of the response is that it should be the member state to respond to the state letter, whatever the content is, because they commit in their comment in some aspect. It's important that they take, even if you prepare the answer, that they take that answer on board and be capable to defend it and understand and not, okay, you answer for me. Avoid that aspect. The other question is, let's accept that they agree today that you answer for them on a regular basis, and ICAO is taking it. It was a bit of a hope of EASA for European countries. I'm joking, I'm provoking. I'm joking. But then, that's why I'm joking, I'm French. I have always something to say. So, what is presently happening in Europe is that EASA is working on a coordinated approach to the value standards, highlighting the number of questions, and then the states answer. I'm not totally sure, but perhaps EASA is also providing some answer to ICAO as an observer organization. Is it correct, Christophe? And on my opinion, this would be a good aspect, not to forget that states would have to answer. If they don't answer, on my opinion, I am a bit autocratic, they lose the capacity to complain. No, but I'm joking. But I would propose a sort of system where they answer, and you, as a regional recognized organization, you could provide your advice even directly to ICAO. I think it would not damage the INC I was presiding myself, to have intelligent comments on whatever standards we are looking at. But it should be clear, and that's the reason most probably, I don't know what was the discussion in Montreal, but it's most probably the reason why you don't have guidance, that ICAO is working with states, and this, that would be a proper compromise. I was not prepared to answer, but I could put some thoughts on it. But I would not abandon the states to be capable of answer.
The idea is not the RSOO to reply without coordinating to the states, but to be the focal point to have a common position among the states. So we be able to have a coordinated position, but the state will still have the input.
Okay. This sounds for me relatively logic and understandable. And I would keep the word coordinated and not always common.
Thank you. My name is Grafas from ASARSO. One of the key outputs from here is we are going to come up with a draft, or we are basically considering that draft RSO strategic plan for the AFI region, which we are trying to revise from where it was in 2021. And apart from that, I believe the other purpose of this meeting is to ensure that we have a continental understanding of what is contained in that strategic plan and promote some synergy. So I really want to ensure that as we flow, the outputs from here would really feed into whatever we are also discussing during these 3 days, today and up to the Wednesday. But looking at the time of, say, consolidating the report and all that, I wonder whether all those inputs will be considered. Like, why I also say that is the fact that most of the issues are in the report, in the draft strategic plan. They are really not up for discussion. So really, we are likely to adopt a report which we have not really gone into at continental level, that is at this forum technical level, before it go to the political level at some stage. So it may really cause some problems. Like a good example is like the issue of, say, competent staff, which you were highlighting. That one of the aspects that the RSO should promote is competent staff, and give vis-a-vis the tension between CAAs and and RSOs. But if you go into the report, you find you are coming up with a specific figure of a salary that should be proposed as the minimum. Then you ask, what was the basis? Did you engage the RSOs? Did you engage the member states? How to come up with such conclusions? I think those are issues we need to really go deep into so that we can be able to really have consensus as a region or as a continent on the issues that are going to be in the report. Thank you.
Yeah, I can answer. First of all, we are here to provide a study. We are not here to decide, at least for me. Monsieur, you are listening to my answer or not?
He's listening.
Okay, he's okay, because he was not looking at me. I'm a bit too French, perhaps, or even an Algerian, but it will be with the hands. The reason why you find numbers in the report, and it's not in the report itself, it's in the annex.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good. The reason why you find numbers is that we wanted to be capable to see how it would work. But to be clear with you, even on the salaries, which is not salaries, which is total cost of employment, including charges, blah, blah, blah. I had a few phone calls in some regions. It's not a survey at all. It's just to see, okay, if I have that amount of cost of my personnel, if I have that amount of cost of that activity, if I have that amount, if I have that expense budget, how would it work to have the income working with safety charges, working with various hypotheses and basket of measures? It was sort of, it is called a simulation in the report, it's not called something else, and it's just a simulation. And you will see tomorrow, in my next presentation, that this has to be vetted, to be honest, in a few months. It's impossible to obtain those figures for the whole AFI countries without traveling around. It's even gathering that data among yourselves would take you a few months. So it's just to have a model and shape it as much as possible if it is workable or not. Doesn't mean the model is good. Just mean that the basket of measures which is proposed appears to be capable to work. But then it's up to you to implement that model. You can decide not to. So, what we heard is that your SAC, no, we heard it from ASAC, but it's the case also from your SAC. They have decided to implement a safety tax or revenue or charge, the way you have called it. But another country, another region could decide not to go there. The question is how do you make the budget sustainable? It's my next presentation, so we can go back. But for sure, don't consider the data which are in the simulation, and insist on it, as consistent, consolidated data. Was impossible in the time which was left to us by EASA. But EASA is giving you a bit more time. I'm joking.
We have two more questions to go, then we can go for our coffee.
Okay. Just to delay the coffee break.
Merci beaucoup. Tizi pour votre présentation. Nous magnifions.
On peut parler en français s'il vous plaît.
C'est ça, donc je suis en train de parler en français. Nous magnifions votre présentation, donc surtout le thème qui est choisi, c'est-à-dire AFI RSOO, créer une valeur ajoutée pour les États. C'est vrai que nous reconnaissons le travail considérable qui est en train d'être réalisé par les RSO. Donc, en Afrique, je peux prendre par exemple l'exemple des AMAC, donc, qui est en train de réaliser un travail considérable dans le domaine des services de la navigation aérienne, c'est-à-dire ANS, et également l'URSSAC, donc, qui est en train vraiment d'appuyer les États membres de l'Union, donc ouest africaine, donc pour le renforcement de la sécurité et de la sûreté de l'aviation, de l'aviation civile des États membres. Donc en fait, là où je voudrais mettre l'accent, nous avons constaté que les RSO sont en train d'aller très vite par rapport à certains États. Si vous regardez dans la région, il y a des États qui ont été audités pratiquement depuis 2007, 2008. Leur système est toujours basé sur les questions de protocole qui dataient de ces années. Il y a d'autres États aujourd'hui qui ont un système plus mature, donc qui sont audités par rapport aux nouvelles questions de protocole de 2022. Donc, si on regarde la balance, donc, il y a des États qui ont un système mature, et il y a des États aujourd'hui que nous pouvons juger qui n'ont pas de système mature. C'est pourquoi je dis que les RSO sont en train d'aller plus vite. Ne faudrait-il pas... Ce que vous avez proposé dans la présentation est excellent. Mais ne faudrait-il pas surtout mettre l'accent sur une stratégie réactive, surtout réactive par rapport aux États qui sont aujourd'hui, je ne dirais pas en retard, mais par rapport à l'évolution des systèmes et également par rapport à l'évolution du développement de l'industrie aéronautique par l'OACI, ne faudrait-il pas aussi adopter une stratégie réactive pour ces États-là, pour les amener à être à niveau. Voilà, donc c'est vrai qu'aujourd'hui, les RSO sont en train de travailler. Vraiment, nous magnifions le travail qui est en train de réaliser. Je viens de donner un exemple, les AMAC sont en train d'aider les États dans le domaine ANS, sur la formation, sur les audits, etc., etc. Mais par rapport à votre présentation qui est tellement pertinente, mettre l'accent surtout sur une stratégie réactive. Merci.
Merci. C'est une bonne question.
C'est une bonne question. Très bonne question.
Parce que quand on regarde les différents RSO, on voit qu'il y a des RSO très, je dirais, où il y a des extraits. Sachou en est peut-être un exemple. Vous avez des États qui sont assez forts, avec une forte industrie aéronautique, des États beaucoup plus faibles. Et puis après il y a d'autres RSO où c'est plus équilibré. Et la question de comment on travaille quelle priorité elle existe partout. Et puis est-ce qu'il faut toujours suivre le leader au risque de jamais être capable de recoller au train ou pas? Je vais reprendre mon exemple de la classe et des élèves. Quel que soit le groupe, vous en avez toujours deux qui sont en tête. Un ventre mou qui dire 4, qui sont en queue. Puis 2 qui sont en queue. Je peux prendre des tonnes d'organisation, je vais à peu près y arriver à trouver La question pour le professeur ou l'organisation, c'est alors comment je fais? Est-ce que je m'occupe que des deux qui sont en tête, ou est-ce que je m'occupe que des deux qui sont en queue? La réponse que moi j'aurais tendance à offrir, c'est occupe-toi des 4 qui sont au milieu, en faisant en sorte que les deux qui sont devant les tirent, et en prêtant assistance aux 2 qui sont derrière. Je ne sais pas si je réponds correctement à votre question, mais il me semble qu'il ne faut pas abandonner de trouver un compromis qui marche pour tous, et c'est pas obligatoirement On ne s'occupe des États les plus faibles, que des États les plus faibles ou les plus en difficulté. Parce qu'on peut perdre l'intérêt des autres. Et ce qui est important, et c'est pour ça que j'insistais sur la notion de partenariat, c'est d'agir en tant que groupe. Certes, le RSO est leader, possède la capacité organisationnelle d'animer les choses. Mais c'est bien un travail de groupe. Si on a un common regulatory framework, un cadre réglementaire commun, à ce moment-là, on va pouvoir travailler puisque certains vont avoir réussi à mettre en œuvre et d'autres seront encore en train de mettre en œuvre. Puis après, ces élèves qui sont en queue de peloton, ou ces États en queue de peloton de la région, c'est pas en leur disant, sois prêt tout de suite, on peut avoir une bonne note au prochain audit. On se met tous à courir, on fait les documents, on fait copie, puis après, ça retombe. Pour moi, on n'a rien fait quand on a fait ça. Pour moi, on n'a rien fait. On n'a pas fait de la sécurité. On a juste réussi l'examen. Mais quand j'étais prof, ou directeur à l'ENAC, celui que je repérais comme ça, il était mort. Parce qu'il ne sert à rien, il n'est pas ingénieur celui-là. Donc, ce qui est important, c'est comment on travaille sur le fond des choses. Et pour ça, si j'ai un élève qui a des difficultés, si j'ai un pays qui a des difficultés, il faut quand même un peu de temps. Il faut de l'accompagnement. C'est pas directement le RSO qui le donne, cet accompagnement. Peut-être que c'est des experts de la région, avec un accompagnement organisé par le RSO. Mais par contre, il faut que la stratégie en question, et je suis d'accord que cette question soit décidée au niveau du RSO. Parce que c'est comme ça qu'on créera un bénéfice partagé. Parce que sinon, ce qui se passe, c'est dans les réunions du RSO, il y a des pays qui ne vont pas venir, parce qu'ils n'ont pas les moyens financiers de venir à la réunion. Parce que de toute façon, ça parle de tellement de choses qu'ils ne comprennent pas qu'aucun bénéfice. Ils vont se décrocher de cette dynamique. Et là, pour moi, le RSO n'aura pas fait son travail. Ce qu'il faut, c'est vraiment que cette stratégie soit partagée. Mais c'est l'histoire du prof et du groupe qu'il a en face de lui. Créer le bon équilibre et la bonne dynamique, c'est pas si simple. Je pense qu'il faut aider les plus faibles, se servir de la dynamique des plus forts et embarquer la majorité. Je pense comme ça, on aura un groupe qui progresse. Vous avez effectivement dans vos RSO des États très différents. Vous avez même des problèmes de langue. On en a entendu parler. Et ça, il faudra quand même un petit peu de temps. Mais il faut que la dynamique soit partagée, il faut qu'elle soit commune. Alors, il y a cette histoire de l'OACI, No Country Left Behind. J'aurais tendance à dire, RSO, adopte that philosophie, No Country Left Behind. Ça veut pas dire focus on the country which are behind. Ça veut dire work with everybody, not to left any country. C'est ma réponse.
So we can have the last one. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mine is some information
the question raised by
certification.
Yes, I like this question. I was expecting to discuss with him with you also about this topic. First, to say that we didn't make the regulatory framework on all all what is in relation with air navigation service provider in the state, but only on the common regulator. It was because they used to go for audit to the same air navigation service provider that we were obliged as RSO belonging to, as a state member of this same RSOs, to provide this framework in order to not to disturb the industry when we go for audit. That's the reason why we begin putting in place this framework. It is not yet adopted, as I said. It's not as ICAO has not yet take it as SARP. It's a recommended practice. So we are willing maybe to have some experience, and later on, if in ICAO development comes to the certification of ANS, maybe what we are doing can be used as example. It's what we are doing. We already made the 5 phases of the study for that, and we complete what we did by MOU we have with all states. We have particularly MOU signed with each state, in addition to the treaty we have. That helps each state to clarify what he really needs from us in terms of certification, in terms of information to be put in place when they are audited. Additional thing for us, for me to say, it's for my sister from Bagasso. The MOU we signed help us in terms of delegation. When some states wanted us to provide some specific activities, they can, via the delegation, have a side meeting with us, and then we can take it on board. And finally, we don't have only the 2 community economic, regional economic community. We also state not member of those areas, like Comoros, like Madagascar, like Rwanda. With those states, it's what we have developed and agree in common that we try to transport them in their own regulation. As there are not many, it's easy to work with them closely, side meeting, in order to have them take all this, what we have done together, on board. It's a way we are doing today with our member states. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.